Hey, Kim from Dorothy's Daughter here. I have a lot of storage products to share with you today. I'm going to count them down, my favorite products that help me organize my sewing room. These are things I've used personally. So here we go. Let's count them down in no particular order. Have you had pins and clips and other small metallic items that just tend to be everywhere in your sewing room? This is the thing you need to organize all of that. This is 3 different trays. They're 3-inch, 4-inch, and 6-inch. I have these in my sewing room. I have one next to my main sewing machine, one next to my serger, and that little one next to my embroidery machine. And it catches all the pins and clips and things that you have to remove as you're sewing or that you need. I also keep my little clippers there, tiny scissors at the embroidery machine, anything that you need to have right there that's metallic. It really keeps everything contained without spilling, and it's a great option, and for just $10 for 3 of them, it's a pretty good deal. Singer Pin Tool Sewing and Craft Organizer Caddy. This is on that same vein. If you don't want magnets, but you want a pin cushion next to you and a place to store all your scissors and serger tweezers and all those things, this is a great option for you as well. I think I will probably order one of these just to organize my scissors and marking pens and that sort of thing. I think I will keep this on my cutting table though, but this is a great organizer product to have, something you may need in your sewing room. This 360-degree rotating organizer for your sewing cabinet or for your cutting table is a great way to organize all those little things. If you notice here, I certainly wouldn't put my rotary cutter blade side up, but other than that, this is a great idea. This is another one to consider for your cutting table, as well as there's place for marking pens, rulers, point turner, scissors, all those little things. And between the last item and this one as to something I would have on my cutting table. There's this butterfly print. There's a sort of a navy floral, like a ditzy flower print, and a pink and blue print, which I think would be my favorite. Moving along to fabric storage. This is a beautiful, versatile, multiple storage 16 cube organizer in white finish. This is what I have along my wall in my sewing room, and I have my fabric stored in there. I try to separate them by stripes, solids, florals, and also knits and woven. So I have found this to be very effective. It holds a ton of fabric, and it's a great way to organize your fabric, or you can even organize bins full of whatever notions or things that you might have. You could also use the bins that fit in those cubicles for patterns if you have a lot of paper patterns. Something that may be of use to you in your sewing room. This is a little bit less expensive way to do the same thing as I suggested in my last item. I used to use these in my old sewing room. I had a closet where I had taken out the rod, and I had it filled with these Amazon cubicles. They were quite sturdy. In addition, though, to the little connectors, you would probably want to use some zip ties, just a note there. But they are really, for the money, a really cost-effective way to store your fabric. At a time in my sewing life when I could not afford the large cubicle system or the space to put one in, I used these cubicles and they worked very well. I have this table on the way to me right now. It is larger than my current cutting table. It has some drawers that I'm really looking forward to and more fabric storage down below. I am looking forward to having a larger surface at 30 by 60 and its counter height at 36 inches. Let me do the 360 for you here. And so you can see all the storage that's available in this cabinet. Drawers could be used for all the little things you need for cutting. I'm planning to put my rotary cutters, marking pens, weeding tools for my Cricut, vinyl, and things of that nature. The reason I am upgrading to this table is because it will be a larger surface for my projector in cutting out patterns. Currently, my table is a bit small for using a projector, so I'm looking forward to having a little bit more space. This cutting table is similar to the one I currently have. It is a tiny bit larger than what I have in my sewing room. This cutting table would be really effective. There's a lot of storage. What I like too, there's some long storage, which I use for interfacing and things in my current table. I am keeping my current table like this, only I'm going to put it against the wall. I'll be using it for my embroidery machine, which will bring my embroidery machine to counter height, be a little easier for me to do without sitting down, since you're constantly changing threads and needing to get down and up so many times. I think it would be really nice to have it at counter height. But this has functioned for me very well as a cutting table for many years. I used to have a much smaller room, and this worked out beautifully in the middle of it. So this is a great option for you as well. You can also get it in the wood grain if you are decorating that way, but I prefer the white. I can no longer find online the one that I currently have, but this one is exactly the same, but a little bit wider. Do not have the wall space to do an entire wall pegboard like I have. You might want to consider doing something like this. It's all contained in one product. It would be about $60 by the time you add tax and stuff. You could actually organize quite a few things. This would be nice over a sewing machine cabinet or a table where you have your Cricut, but it would be very useful in a craft room to be able to store some of those things right at your fingertips. I know you've all seen my pegboards before, and I have my video that my husband helped me make where he made the pegboards, but not everyone can afford the space of a 4-foot by 6-foot pegboard like I have. So if all you have is a little bit of wall space, it's probably about 2.5 by 2.5 feet, not even that you could just put a little pegboard and organize a few small things. It would make a big difference. Very cost-effective little cabinet. I bought this a few months ago. What I use this for is to keep my painting supplies in. So I have spray paint and acrylic paint and things of that nature, mostly for other crafts other than sewing, but it's really nice to have a dedicated spot for those kind of things. I have a brush stand that I put my paintbrushes in, and this is a really nice way to organize all that extra stuff, and it's nice to be able to find things when you are looking for them. I also use one of the shelves on this cabinet to organize stationery items like cards and pre-made cards or even blank cards to craft with. A lot of the supplies that I have for my grandkids when they come over to do crafts are on this little cabinet. It's small. It's about 10 inches by 20 inches by 31 inches high, so it's kind of small. I believe it's going to fit underneath my old cutting table against the wall, so that will just be extra storage there. Sewing books would be good on here, anything that you have to store. It's very small, it's easy to put together. I did it myself. And it also comes in a lot of different colors here, as you see, which wasn't available when I bought mine, so that's kind of cool. I probably would have bought this blue and white one if I did it again. And they have different sizes too as well. You can do a taller one, a little bit wider, a corner shelf. So a lot of different options here, and it will help you with all that extra storage that you need for your craft items. This would work well in a small space. I have this rotating thread holder that I have all of my embroidery thread on. I have it separated by color, and there are also extra pegs to put on the top, which stores another extra bit of thread. I don't know if there's a picture of that, but I can show you mine. But it rotates really easily, and I have it sitting on my embroidery machine table. And all my colors are just within reach, and it works out really well. It holds 84 spools. I really like this spool rack. It's probably one of my favorite purchases from last year. If you need an affordable option for a sewing table, this is a nice little sewing table for $119, $120. I actually purchased this cabinet for an extra machine for my grandchildren to sew on. I currently, though, have my cover stitch on it as I'm reorganizing my space a little bit. But this is a great little cabinet. It's got storage in the door, was easy to put together, and very cost effective. It is the one I currently have my embroidery machine on. I love it because it extends quite a bit. The table part is pretty large when you extend it. It's an entire 46 inches wide when it's extended, so it's got a lot of room for my embroidery machine and other supplies. I like the spool storage on there, and then there's also a couple of bins there. There's also a room underneath to store some things as well. Little guy holds all your extra Cricut blades, and it's really nice to have a place to put them where you know they're not going to cut anyone. You know that they're going to be within reach and not lost in a drawer somewhere. I received this as a Christmas gift a few years ago, and I really use it a lot. Much more than I thought I would. It's a very nice way to store all of your Cricut blades. And as you can see, there's ample room for the blades to just set right in there. And in the bottom, you can store these sort of extra blade tools. I like this a lot. It was a great Christmas present. This or one similar to it on my wall with my potpourri of thread that I have. Holds 60 spools, which is quite a bit. That's about a medium-sized one. I know there are ones that are larger, but I have just all my general duty sewing thread that is left over from projects and whatnot on there, and it comes in handy to be able to find things, and again, not buy things that you already have. So I believe this one will store regular size spools. There is one for cones as well, which I will show you. This does hold embroidery size cones. So if you don't want or don't have the table space for something rotating, this is an option for that. And you can either sit it on the table or hang it on the wall. Of these rolling utility carts, I have one that holds my Rowenta Pro iron system. And underneath I put all the iron paraphernalia like clapper, sewing ham, that kind of thing, and I just roll it over next to my table when I'm sewing. Works out really well. I also have one that I roll around and put just general sewing supplies that I need by my cutting table, and in that one I have all my projector remotes and that kind of thing, and it's a pretty decent price for what you're getting. I actually ordered this stroller cup holder, and that fits on the rolling cart really nicely and holds my drink of choice, usually a can of Diet Pepsi, and it's not on my table where I can knock it over and spill it on my projects. It's pretty sturdy, and I really like having that there. And it's made for strollers. I think virtually any stroller cup holder would work, but I like having it where I can roll it around next to me, and I can actually roll it near where I'm recording a video like now and be able to stop and pause and take a sip and wet my whistle, so to speak. It's just a real handy little thing, and one of those things that you do for yourself to be nice to yourself. So if you get a rolling tray, consider getting one of these to clip on it, and you'll like it. I'm sure you will. this one in another video, but this sewing machine mat reduces the noise. It also holds tools. I have my hump jumpers and my clippers and scissors and whatnot at my sewing table. It has a little thread cup, which is nice. It's attractive. It looks really nice in your sewing room, and there are several different patterns you can get of it now, which is nice. It can match any room, I believe, with all those. And like I said, I think I put this in another video, but I definitely plan to buy another one or two of these for other machines that I have. This is the ribbon rack that you see behind me in my videos. I've had people ask in the comments about these. I have two of these. It says frequently returned item, but I do not know why, because I really like them. What I like about them is that you can pull the ribbon through and be able to pull and just cut. Plus, it's not hard to take the spools out. So you're able to not pull a rod out, all of them off to get to one, and then it's just really handy. And I have two of them stacked. I may buy a third because I think I would like one for all my elastics. I have no idea why anyone would return these unless they just didn't have the space. But this can sit on a table or hang on a wall. Mine are on the wall. And, you know, for $15.60, a pretty good deal. Ribbon is something that I've struggled for years to find the right solution for. So this is a great option. This is an item that holds your Cricut vinyl. So if you're like me and you also do Cricut crafts, this is a great way to store your vinyl. I have 3 of these on my wall. I have 2 of them holding, actually I have 4 of these on my wall. And I have heat transfer vinyl in 2 of them and adhesive vinyl in the other 2. And it's a great way to be able to just grab a color. It's very difficult to find something that will store your vinyl without crushing it or bending it. And this has been a great solution for me. Table. I love this table. It's a countertop table. It's 37 inches long and 6 inches wide. And it comes up about a foot. And what I like about it is that it's all metal. I've had the kind that have the resin in there, and after time, when you use a lot of steam, it bends and warps and does all kinds of crazy things. So this is a very sturdy little tabletop ironing board. So if you don't have a lot of room and you have a large cutting table, this is a great option for that. There's also a coupon right now. I don't know how long that will be there, but you get 20% off. So that's a good deal. Now, these little things at the end, it's meant to be an iron rest, but they push all the way in right up against the end of that. And then there are 2 little things I'm going to show you here in a moment, but there are 2 little loops of wire there that I am able to just hang this on the side of one of those rolling carts. So storage of it makes it really nice. Here's how you can see here in this picture. See how those loops collapse down and they'll just clamp right on the cart. It works out so well. You could also store it under a bed or anything. This is a great option for you if you want a countertop iron. Don't buy a resin one. They might say that they're heat resistant and everything, but they warp, and especially if you're using a lot of steam like most of us do, they don't hold up. But this one has held up very well. I've gone through a lot of tables, and this one has been the best one that I've had. Not necessarily a storage item, but I purchased one of these for cleaning my sewing machines, and you can get ends for it that have little tiny brushes that you can get into your sewing machine. When you see the interview that I did with Brad, the sewing machine repair guy from Ken's Sewing Center, you will see what I mean. It's gentle because you are able to control the amount of vacuum. There is a tiny brush tip, but there's also a kit you can purchase that has all the little tools as well, which I will link in the Amazon store. But it's a wonderful little vacuum to have in the sewing room. I was dragging my big vacuum into the sewing room and using an attachment on that. I got very tired of doing that. This is lightweight. It just goes under a cabinet. I actually have mine in a corner between two cabinets in a bin that I bought at the dollar store. So very easy storage, and you can pull that out and clean out your serger, your sewing machine. All those things should be kept lint-free as much as possible. And as Brad from Ken's Sewing Center said in the interview that I did with him, he said canned air, if you use canned air, you have to not point it down into the machine. And so that was kind of a question that I had, whether canned air was okay or not. So vacuuming is much safer as long as you're really careful with it. One way to do it is to hold the vacuum a little bit away and use one of your separate brushes and just kind of vacuum up the lint that you loosen with your brush. So this is a little bonus item to put in here. Like I said, it's not storage related, but it does definitely help to have one at hand when you want to clean out your sewing machine, especially your serger. I hope that helps you organize your sewing space, no matter how large or small it might be. Go ahead and check the links out down below to all of these products, and also my Amazon influencer store where you'll find even more great products. Take care, happy sewing, and hold your loved ones close because life is short. God bless. Happy sewing.